Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Frank Yu. I'm a principal consultant at Pacific Consulting Group and head up our freight and logistics practice out of Melbourne, Australia. By way of introduction, for those of you who may not have heard of us, PCG are a boutique Tier 1 management consulting firm with global operations. One of our specializations is freight and logistics, and we have consulted to this industry for over 15 years now. In that time, we've helped our clients in Asia Pacific and abroad through some pretty dramatic changes in their businesses. From the first days of e-commerce through to the mining boom, the global financial crisis, the decline of postal mail, to today with the ascendancy of e-commerce. We've helped them with advice and support on their transformation programs, network optimizations, profit improvement, and commercial strategies. Without doubt, Covid-19 is an unprecedented disruptor for postal and parcel operators around the world. Businesses are dealing with accelerating structural shifts from letters to parcels, volume spikes, changing freight profiles, and stringent restrictions demanded by COVID-safe practices. These may well prove to be an existential threat for many companies, but there is also hope. An effective approach to transformation can allow operators to turn these challenges into a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform their businesses. Today, I'd like to share with you some frameworks and approaches to transformation that you may find useful in shaping your organization's response to the pandemic. By now, the impacts of COVID-19 on the post and parcel industry have become clear. For the first time, operators around the world are responding to a very similar set of challenges at the same time, be it structural shifts driven by COVID-19 or the tactical responses necessitated by the pandemic. In terms of structural shifts, globally we have seen acceleration in the decline of letters and growth in parcels. Until the start of this year, the conversions of letters to parcels volume wasn't expected to occur until well beyond 2028. COVID-19 has now brought this forward to 2027. In contrast, operators have had to deal with surging parcel volumes. We have routinely seen volumes equal to or greater than what would typically be expected during annual peak periods. Australia Post, for example, has since March recorded some of its highest volumes days on record, with parcel volumes up 90% compared to the same period last year. And while surging volumes are a good problem to have, this brings its own challenges and can ultimately have a negative impact if network capacities are overwhelmed, staff are burned out, and service performance degrades. These challenges are compounded by other COVID-19 related disruptions, such as limited air uplift capacity due to lack of passenger flights. Well, what is behind this volume surge? The answer is simply e-commerce, which has now been catalyzed by the amount of people shopping from home during enforced lockdown or the need to self-isolate. Consequently, this is shifting the customer profiles for freight operators, which are now trending from B2B to B2C. Before we discuss some of the responses to these challenges and look at how to drive effective transformation in this environment, I'd like to ask everyone to vote on the poll question, which you should now see on the screen below. As operators begin to understand the magnitude of COVID-19 and the impact it has had and will continue to have on operations, it has been interesting to see that many of the short-term responses have been quite similar, both across regions and carriers. FedEx and DHL, amongst others, have introduced temporary surcharges to help recover increased operational costs driven by disruption to the aviation industry and cash expenditure on health and safety mitigation activities. In the 3 months to July alone, FedEx spent $125 million on PPE and cleaning services. With COVID-19 impacting workforce availability and significantly disrupting aviation capacity, adjustments to service guarantees have also been used by both postal hybrids and parcel operators. Australia Post, USPS, UPS, and others removed service commitments on various time-definite and slow-moving mail products. To compensate for these service degradations, operators have looked to improve their social goodwill with concerted efforts through marketing, emphasizing their contributions to distributing critical medical supplies, as well as providing relief measures for affected customers. For example, UPS provided price relief and free virtual logistics consulting services to help mitigate the impact of the virus on small to medium businesses. Internally, and specifically for postal hybrid operators, staff redeployment was an effective resourcing technique to manage the sudden normality of steady-state peak volume. Many postal operators migrated male dedicated staff to parcel operations and increased the parcel delivery load of postmen. The great unknown for postal operators is how permanent these changes will be, and this will depend to a degree on the effectiveness of their long-term transformational responses. While COVID-19 caused significant short-term disruptions across the freight and logistics industry, it also presents great opportunity for both postal hybrids and parcel specialists to enact transformative changes to their businesses. These opportunities align with two core themes. Firstly, regulatory reforms for postal hybrids. Secondly, network transformation to align with the shift from B2B to B2C. For postal hybrids, COVID-19 represents the perfect opportunity to seek long-desired regulatory reforms from Universal Service Obligations, commonly known as USO. These are government-mandated service standards for letters, regulating the product speed, price, delivery, frequency, and service coverage. What we've seen is that regulators and governments seem to be recognizing the need to modernize these obligations in the face of COVID-19. Australia Post was granted a temporary relaxation of its mail delivery standards to allow for alternative day deliveries, a seismic shift from the traditional daily mail service with substantial impact for both cost and personnel. Further, Royal Mail has plans to accelerate the pace of revising its own USO, and USPS has already made its case to regulators for reprieve. Changes to USO enable fundamental changes to postal network operations and provide agility to these businesses to focus on profitable parcel divisions. Shipping data collected since April has shown a consistent trend of parcel volume migrating from B2B to B2C, citing a 17% increase in B2C shipments. More significantly, a recent consumer survey by Wunderman Thompson indicated that the changes we've seen in consumer behavior are likely to be permanent. This is very, very important because of the difference in freight profile. B2C consignments weigh much less than B2B, affecting automation requirements, transport loading factors, and delivery capacity. The best example of the impact of this shift is in the performance difference between UPS, known for their ground service and small package delivery, and FedEx, known for their time-sensitive services. UPS June quarter domestic package revenue was up 17% and net income up 5%, while FedEx was down for both. FedEx has since invested heavily in its ground services operations, which resulted in a 36% revenue growth in the latest quarter. This really highlights the importance of having a network designed for the right freight profile. And with the likely permanent swing towards B2C, it is more important than ever to right-size your operations. So how do businesses successfully execute these long-term opportunities? Well, operators must successfully manage large-scale transformations. Regardless of the industry you operate in, one of the key challenges in starting any transformation program is to establish a burning platform. Without one, there is no sense of urgency, no imperative for the business and its people to change, people don't buy in, and inertia overcomes action. Today, COVID-19 is the burning platform. Without adjusting to the new normal, many businesses will succumb to the existential threat posed by the pandemic, either through the short-term challenges it has posed or due to the longer-term structural changes it will likely precipitate. Leaders must seize this imperative to transform, deal with the challenges being posed by COVID, then set up their businesses to thrive in a new and likely more challenging environment. Of course, establishing the burning platform is only one part of driving a successful transformation program. We have seen with our clients that regardless of whether they have established a transformation office, the factors that drive successful and sustainable transformation are largely the same. Having a clear and well-defined target end state must form the bedrock of any successful and sustainable transformation agenda. In addition to setting the ultimate goals for transformation, this vision will also serve as a touchstone throughout the program to ensure things are progressing in the right direction and delivering against key objectives. When establishing a vision for your transformation, it is important to consider your organization's existing capability to deliver change. This must also guide program scope, objectives, timelines to ensure that the business doesn't pursue a challenge larger than it can realistically achieve. Once the end state vision has been established, leaders must not underestimate the size of the task ahead. Regardless of existing capability, change takes time. We have also seen that organizations which give their transformation agenda an elevated and prominent position within the business typically drive much better outcomes. It is critical to ensure effective communication across all levels of the organization and across multiple communication channels. Not everyone consumes information in the same way at the same time. Ensuring the transformation is front and center in the minds of your people, when paired with a clear burning platform and need for urgent change, this encourages broad buy-in and will often surface valuable ideas from stakeholders that may otherwise not have participated. For example, site operation managers or frontline retail staff. Similarly, many clients we have worked with have challenged their young and emerging leaders to drive the transformation agenda. By doing this, businesses can tap into unconstrained thinking and new ways of working, as well as shape the next generation of leaders. For any freight and logistics operator negotiating the challenges thrown up by COVID-19, transformation must be a key focus. Whether that's establishing a new transformation program, ramping up the pace of your existing program, or making sure that the transformation that has already been delivered successfully is sustained into the future. For organizations just embarking on the transformation journey, there are several key elements in program establishment. In addition to the burning platform we discussed earlier, organizations must develop a program charter which clearly defines the scope, objectives, KPIs, and success factors. Additionally, kickoff sessions with the executive sponsor and delivery teams are essential in gaining endorsement and building buy-in. It's then important to establish clearly defined governance structures and processes to ensure the program has a disciplined operating rhythm. This will include items such as meeting cadence and reporting cycles, stage gate approval processes, delegations, and so on. Once endorsed by senior stakeholders, program management structures can then be put in place. For example, with our clients, we typically develop a program plan detailing team roles and responsibilities, and process and timelines for the program management activities. To allow your teams to be focused on delivery rather than bureaucracy of initiative management, develop a standardized toolkits such as templates for business cases, change management assessments, financial modeling options, benefit tracking methodologies, and other items. Doing so ensures a consistent approach to initiative development is used across the program and across the business. In parallel, it's essential to develop a communications plan to ensure people across the organization understand the purpose and importance of the program, as well as its target and objectives. Having a clearly defined strategic narrative in place will encourage buy-in to the program, build confidence in the target end state, and help build momentum. For those organizations seeking to capitalize on the opportunities presented by COVID-19 and ramp up the pace of their existing transformation program, then the focus should be on streamlining processes and building momentum. Take a step back and review your pool of initiatives. Identify and prioritize those that will generate additional opportunities, or scale the program up by building on foundational initiatives such as technology changes or organization redesigns. Similarly, identify people within the business that want to see change and empower them to act as change champions. They will drive the transformation, and partnering with these champions to rapidly deliver quick wins will also allow people across the business to see the outcomes of their efforts and further build momentum. We have found time and time again with our clients that results encourage more results. So the importance of building momentum in this way cannot be overstated. In parallel to this, it is critical to reduce program overhead as much as possible to ensure your people are focused on key information rather than initiative admin. Too often, we have seen examples of organizations running successful transformations, but only to gradually return to previous ways of working after the conclusion of the program. To combat this, any organization embarking on a transformation journey must embed good practice within their team throughout the program. This ensures benefits and processes are sustained into the future. Throughout the program, it is essential to consistently and frequently revisit key objectives to ensure they're being met. By asking these questions regularly during the program, adjustments can be made while initiatives are in flight so that value is consistently being delivered for the business. It is also crucial to continue monitoring progress and tracking benefits of individual initiatives even after they have been implemented. We've consistently seen that once a focus on results drops off, benefits similarly tend to tail off as well. At the same time, emphasis must be placed on building a culture of continuous improvement across the organization. By fostering an environment where teams continuously hunt for opportunities to improve the way they operate, ongoing incremental improvements can be achieved. Organizations must also consider strategic reinvestments when determining objectives, as reinvesting cost savings or incremental revenue can build capability and capacity to deliver additional ongoing benefits. To conclude, whilst COVID-19 has brought almost unprecedented disruptions to freight and logistics industry, it has also brought with it great opportunities and imperative to change. Some of the greatest business transformation has taken place in the greatest change, be it the collapse of the iron ore price or major energy shocks. We are now seeing this take place in postal and parcel operators responding to the current crisis. We've already seen close cooperation between regulators and national service providers to modify universal service obligations. We've also seen improvements by operators in terms of dynamic pricing, strategic adjustments to service commitments, and greater personnel flexibility. As conditions slowly start to normalize around the world, and with the possibility of COVID vaccine on the horizon, the time is right for operators to seize on the existing momentum for change and continue to transform their business for the future. Thank you for your time. We'll now take any questions that you may have.